I'll take 2 of those and 4 of those, please. I'd like to pay with my time today, if that's okay. Welcome to Simplified Sparky Marketing. Your time is your most valuable asset. You can always get more money, but you can never get more time. I think this didn't hit home with me really until I've had a few incidents back home in Ireland where both my parents fell ill and luckily have recovered since. And I think it shifted my whole perspective about what's valuable to me. And most valuable to me is my time. And I think once you realize that you can't get that time back, or you can't buy your time back, essentially, it really shifts your perspective of things. And I think it's something that I've been working with my members doing, is delegating stuff out and realizing that their time is extremely valuable, because it's extremely easy to fall into that trap where you just work that extra few hours and you don't really charge for it, or you do a call out on a Sunday or a call out on a Saturday, and what you're weighing up is like, do I charge a couple of $100 to go out on a Sunday, or do I spend that time with my family that's more important for the sake of a couple of $100? And look, if you're making a couple of grand or something and it's worth it and it's quick, by all means do it. But what I'm kind of getting at is people that undercharge when they're doing after hours work and also weekend work. I fucking hate weekend work. Weekends shouldn't be for working. I do a little bit of weekend work as a contradiction, but only if I know it's going to be like a 2-hour job and I'm going to absolutely cream it. That's the only time I'll be doing work on the weekend. Other than that, I am not scheduling to keep my clients happy at the weekend just so they can get their lights going or they can have a brand new PowerPoint in the corner. That can wait until a weekday, and you need to be charging enough during the week so you don't have to work weekends. If you are charging enough during the week, you do not have to work weekends. That is the key takeaway here. And why this podcast is about time. And I just remembered it yesterday. So I had a PTSD yesterday of real estate. I got caught in a crossfire. What's happened is one of my clients, I've replaced their switchboard about maybe 3 or 4 months ago in their older apartment in the inner west. So it's a classic, maybe a 70s apartment or something like that, 70s, 80s. And there's just two power circuits of hot water, cooktop and lights, I think, in that board. And what's happened is my client has gone through an agent and they are leasing out the property or renting out the property. And I think my client has opted for her to be a point of reference for her trades. So what's happened is I've got a call, my admin got a call yesterday about that switchboard that it was tripping. So I said, fuck. I was like, what's going on here? And then I looked at the context of the email and it basically said that tenants are complaining that when all 3 of them are in the house, they do this, they do that, and the power is tripping. So I was like, sure as shit, they are plugging in too many items and tripping the circuit so it's doing its job. So anyway, I looked at the email and then like I get anxious when I see my time is going to get wasted. Like I am a stickler for efficiency and a stickler for doing things once and just doing them that I'm not going to get called back to them. And the same thing goes with my emails and admins and stuff, admin work like that as well, is like I'll get the admin team to get the details of the quote. I'll get all the information I need, then I'll quote it. I won't go back and forth because that is a massive time suck. So what happened with that, the email was I read it and it said that the tenants are extremely busy people, God love them, and they are experiencing tripping in the evenings, blah, blah, blah. And to contact them, they can only get contacted with SMS. So I was like, fuck's sakes. And I don't like giving away my private number to clients. And that's the only way I can really text. I could have texted off service mate technically, but I just text them off my regular phone. So lo and behold, I'm texting one of them back and forth. When we do this, we've only got like 4 heaters plugged in and we've only got like an air fryer and something else and 2 or 3 other appliances going in the kitchen. Then we stick on the washing machine. So I'm wondering why this is tripping. Can you come out and look at it? So I just basically said, you're overloading the circuit. It's a 16 amp breaker. And they kind of played the card of, oh, look, this isn't fair living conditions and all this shit. And I'm like, just run a fucking lead out and plug it into the other circuit if you're so concerned. And he's like, is there anything we can do? There's 3 of us living in this apartment, rah, rah, rah. And I was like, you could have got a better apartment, perhaps. I didn't say that, obviously. But there's only 2 power circuits in there. One is split with the kitchen, and I think the laundry may even be on that. And then the rest is the rest of the house or the rest of the apartment. And it's just an old school apartment. And the only solution for that really is to run a power circuit back to the board, which in this brick apartment is an absolute nightmare. So went back and forth with text messages, and essentially was like, he was like, is there any solution to this? I'm totally open to options here. And I'm like, yeah, fucking right, there's solutions. We can run a circuit back to your switchboard, but how's the owner and the landlord and the real estate going to feel about like an invoice for that? They're not going to want to do that because it's a rental, it's an investment. So obviously I didn't say that to them, but that's what's going on in my head. And I just went back to them and said, yeah, we've got to run a power circuit, but we'll have to take that up with the real estate or whatever. So went back to them, and they've got an issue with a light, which is fair, but I know what's going to happen. I'm going to go out there, fix the light fitting, and then I'm going to go, yeah, those 6 heaters you got plugged into that circuit are the reason for tripping. And it's going to be fun because I'm going to put my ammeter on the board and then start plugging shit in and then have to explain how electricity works and how amps work with the clients and the tenant. And then they can be like, oh, okay, so we'll plug it in around in different locations or we'll split that. I'm like, yes, that's what I said. So that was one thing that pissed me off yesterday, because my time is valuable, your time is valuable. And that's exactly why I keep these podcasts short and sweet as well. And exact same with my mentorship. It's to the point. Like, there's no point in you sitting on a fucking 2-hour Zoom call listening to a new update about Zoom that you'll never ever use. There's no point in that. The idea is you learn quickly, you implement, and your revenue and your profit goes up quickly. That's my whole ethos. Anyways, that's beside the point. So that was one thing that happened yesterday that I was like, that was such a time suck. And now I remember why I got out of real estate, or why I hate working real estate, because you basically have to explain your electrical apprenticeship to a tenant that's extremely confused, and they do not respect your time in any way, shape or form, because you're just a middleman. Their issues are with the realtor, the real estate agent, and then you're caught in the crossfire as just the electrician that has to fix this shit. So they have zero respect for you, which pisses me off as well. And the second thing that happened yesterday was I installed a ceiling fan for a lady, lovely lady, and I said it to her. I shouldn't have said it to her. When I installed the ceiling fan I was like, oh yeah, the reason for this isolation switch in the room is because if you're programming that, I pick up the other fan. And it was perfect when I left, and I ran her through the whole thing of how it worked. So the wall switch, the light switch, was now the isolation switch for the fan, which is perfect. So both rooms are the identical fans, and they had both isolation switches in them. So when I left, everything was working perfectly. I think she got a bit of a crazy fit to see would one remote pick up the other. So she decided to program that ceiling fan with the wrong remote. So I get a call in the evening. Again, my admin got a call and they transferred it to me. I think I had the time on it. It was 19 minutes I spent on the phone yesterday to this lady, explaining to her how to reprogram her ceiling fans again. And I had to tell her to walk to the board, turn off this room, flick that over, point the fan here, while she contradicted everything I was saying, and she moved away from that. And then she wasn't following instructions, having a laugh down the phone as there was steam coming out my ears. And I was like, haha, if you just turn off that switch, go to the other room, press that switch on, then hold down the off button. And she's like, yeah, no, it's not working. And I was like, just hold it for fucking 15, 30 seconds till you hear a beep. Anyways, we got it sorted, but it was 20 odd minutes I spent reprogramming the fan because of her fuck up. And it's just these little time sucks in your business that 20 minutes here, 10 minutes there, 15 minutes doing this. It's all about making your time more efficient. It's a core focus of mine with my members inside the mentorship. One of the first things we're going to be doing is looking at ways to delegate your time out and just take the weight off of you. Because I've spoken to some people, most of the people that have joined up, there's an issue with time. And people that are interested, the issue is time. It's like finding time. In my own personal life, I'm a very fucking busy person. So during my typical week, I work 3 to 4 days at electrical, like big days. Then I'll still have my head in the emails and quotes. The VA does some heavy lifting in the background. The other VA does the phone calls and all that. So everything is teed up that it's very easy and quick and efficient for me to do. Then I will do some stuff on Instagram Reels and all that. I'll do a podcast. I will do content for the course. I'll be working with members. So my week is extremely busy, but I still get shit done. And that's because the stupid monotonous things that you do over and over again, I've got systemized. Like, so for example, with my virtual assistant that does the admin, I've got templates and a process for her to follow to get all the information that I need. So I don't have to go back and forth with the client. And again, what I spoke about, that's 5 minutes here, it's 10 minutes there. It's researching a light fitting. It's doing this, that, and the other, that they can now go do that work and I don't have to do it. Same with the phone admin. I put up a screenshot on my Instagram the other day, links below, of my orders to the phone virtual assistant. I had about 4 or 5 jobs that I had to call or rearrange or organize. So I just got an email, made out all the job numbers from ServiceMate, and I sent them the email, and it had all the listings there and what they had to do. So I had to rearrange some jobs, ask a client this, ask a client that. And the reason why it works so well when you use a virtual assistant is if a Sparky calls up for either like a lead comes in, or you're an electrician, you're taking the phone call when a lead comes in. If they know you're an electrician, they'll start asking you technical questions, and you, being a lovely person, will entertain the questions and start diagnosing their problem and telling them the issues and what you can do and what you can't do. And then they may not even go ahead with you in the end. And this is where more time is lost in your business. It works really well if the receptionist plays the innocent receptionist that's just a receptionist, so they're not too sure. You're going to have to send across an email and speak with the electrician, Alan. So that works really well for me, of just efficiency. If they know they're not going to get the answers, they will have to basically put that in an email. So it's very quick for me just to respond to that. And there is with the admin as well. So just basically I use queues religiously within ServiceMate. It's something I'm going to be showing my members the full breakdown of. It is how I use the queues efficiently, that I can basically get a bird's eye view of the jobs or what's needed or what I need to attend to. But time it's so valuable, and before you know it, you fuck around with this, you fuck around with that, nothing gets done. And it's very important that you do delegate stuff out that you don't necessarily need to do. Or what often happens, and I'm very guilty of this, is you procrastinate so long that you don't do it, or you'll make up an excuse that you don't have this or you don't have that. So I'll do that thing tomorrow that I'm meant to do. And it's ripping the Band-Aid off, or the plaster, as I like to call it, off your arm, and just getting shit done. For example, I spoke to a few of you about this, like this podcast right now, and all my stuff on Instagram, and my mentorship, which is just starting next month. I need to stop plugging that. I sat on the fence for about 5 years wanting to do that. And my pain point was I was just fucking almost hitting depression, because I was looking at other coaches. I'm like, I'm better than them. I need to do this. This is my niche. I need to get out there. And it wasn't until I engaged my own coach that I was like, fuck, I now have a pathway. I've got a guide that can tell me how to get there. And only for that guy, who's a weapon, I wouldn't be doing this podcast right now. I wouldn't be doing shit on Instagram. And I kept putting stuff off, being like, oh, I don't have a proper microphone, or I don't have a camera, or I don't have a light. And I just kept putting shit off instead of putting the effort into it and just take it step by step. And the thing with time delegation as well is, do one thing today that will delegate your time out. Create an email template that will now save you. I'll give you one example of this. When I send out a form to a client, again, I'm giving too much shit away. People are making money off the shit I'm giving away, and you know who you are from these free podcasts. But anyways, here's another tip. When you do your email templates on ServiceMate, you don't have to build 101 templates. It's just the 80-20 rule of the shit that you use 80% of the time. That's the stuff that you use. So, for example, with me, I have got a form that goes out when a lead comes in. And then I've got an email template built, ready to go. So when they send back the form, and I've got any questions to do with the form, I've got an email template called Form Questions. And it basically has a little blurb already written like, hey, Jane, thanks so much for sending through the form. I've had a look through it, but these are just some questions that I have, bullet point, bullet point. That email is ready to go. Now, typing out that email and putting the heading in and doing all that shit, it might save me 3 minutes. But if that saves me 3 minutes and I do it 100 times a year, that's whatever amount of minutes, 300 minutes. So however many hours that is, divide that by 60. 5 hours, it's probably wrong. Maths aren't my strong point. And yeah, so that's 3 hours or something like that a year you've just saved. Little micro things in your business will save you time. And that's what I'm about. Like, I'm about lean and efficiency. Any little gap that I can see that's inefficient, I'm like, right, I need to fucking sort this shit out for next time, because it's otherwise there's going to be a time suck. And before you know it, you're wasting weeks of your year and you're ending up working weekends and all of that because you don't have these little systems in place. A key thing you can do with this is kind of audit your week, is get a bit of paper for the fun of it, or you can do it with a Google Doc or something, and just put out Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, whatever, and do 15-minute increments and put down what you did. And I can guarantee you'll look back at the week. If you do this over like a 2-week period, you'll probably be wasting so much time on phone calls. You'll be wasting time on emails and stuff like that. Even things like supplier trips, like, people are lethal for that. They'll go to the supplier every morning almost as like a religious thing. But if you're booked for 2 or 3 days ahead, get fucking gear for 2 or 3 days into the future. Or if you know where you are for the full week, or one of your staff members is, get them to load up with their gear and stop the inefficiencies, because it mightn't look like it's costing you money. But if they're going to the suppliers every morning, easily call that 30 minutes to an hour a week. That's 5 hours wasted. And if those 5 hours are wasted and you're the same kind of person that's like, oh, geez, I just don't have any time to implement any marketing stuff into my business or tweak this or tweak that, that's 5 hours you've just wasted. You could go knock off 1 hour, go there once during the week, and you've got 4 free hours. Half a day is just freed up from doing that. So have a look at how you're wasting your time in your business, because by getting savvy with my time, I was able to get to where I am now. And without doing that, or without auditing your time, or putting processes in place, or delegating out to virtual assistants, you are really going to fuck your time. And it's very important, because time should be spent with family, friends, doing shit that you enjoy, because you should be working to live, not living to work, if that makes sense. There's links in the description. I've got a little how to find and hire a VA doc as well. It's a very simple Google Doc, and I'll drop that link underneath in the podcast as well. Please rate and review. Greatly appreciate it, and it really helps the podcast if you're enjoying it or taking bits from it. So just tick the stars, please. I'll chat to you next week.